So I went into trying this new habit without super high expectations. I had tried journaling many times before, but had never stuck with it as a consistent practice. I didn't think that morning pages would be particularly special, but I went into it with the attitude that something doesn't have to be absolutely life-changing for it to be valuable. But it's been pretty life-changing, and more valuable than I can probably express. So what are morning pages? It's pretty simple. You wake up and write 3 full stream of consciousness handwritten pages. Essentially a brain dump. This is a tool that comes from the book The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. I haven't actually read the book myself yet, but I had heard about morning pages, and I was inspired to give it a go after coming across this video. So I too tried writing morning pages for 30 days, and here are my reflections. So it's been just over a week of writing morning pages, and I'm already a believer. Over the past decade, I've been trying lots of different morning and night rituals and journaling practices, and this one so far I've really resonated with, and it feels effective. Maybe it's just come into my life at the right time, but I do feel like this is something I really need. As an entrepreneur that feels like my mind is always active and working, as a creative and artist that works on a creative project every single day and is often overwhelmed by ideas and projects, and as someone who often wakes up feeling anxious. So at the start of the year, I thought I'd try a nightly gratitude practice where I would write a minimum of 5 things that I was feeling grateful for, often things that had happened that day. I didn't want to repeat anything that had been said before, so that really opened my eyes to notice new things that I was appreciating in my day. So that was a great practice too, but there is something about writing as soon as you wake up as opposed to just before bed. And I feel that I have transferred a bit of that gratitude habit into my morning pages as well. So here are some things that I've noticed from doing morning pages for just over a week. The practice consistently takes me half an hour every day. It takes me the same amount of time. At the start, I was a little impatient. I'm someone who is honestly kind of obsessed with being as productive as possible each day and using time effectively, so I often get into working on projects soon after I wake up. So I was initially getting nervous about how quickly time was passing while I was still on my first page. But as the days went by, I pretty quickly got comfortable with the stream of consciousness writing format, which brings me to how amazing stream of consciousness really is. I expected half an hour of writing to feel more like a chore, but maybe after just the first 2 days, I already started enjoying it because I could really feel the benefits. When you get to the point where you're almost writing as fast as you're thinking without taking a pause, it's pretty cool what comes up. It becomes a way for your subconscious to seep through and surface things that you may not have even known were on your mind. That means I don't necessarily leave the pages always feeling better than before, but at some point I have to allow myself to feel the things that I was maybe distracting myself from, and this is a great way to face those things. A pattern that I've noticed in my stream of consciousness writing is that I often start with how I'm feeling in the moment and little things that are occupying my mind from what's going on in my life. And then I tend to complain a little and have a rant, but then my mind naturally expands out and my perspective changes to be more zoomed out. I end up writing about my life as a whole, what is most important to me in my life, and what I want to achieve. So at first it just feels like mental chatter that you can read, but then some kind of wisdom suddenly comes through. And the things that were bothering me earlier don't have the same importance and power with this zoomed out perspective. I've also noticed that I often end with these positive, comforting words to myself, like a third person is talking to me and giving me that little push for the day ahead. And something I wasn't expecting to happen but did as a result of doing this practice is I've started waking up earlier than I used to. I just naturally felt the need to give my morning more of a priority, and I realized that I do like being a morning person. Just over the past few days, I've been sleeping earlier and waking up earlier and setting aside that first half an hour for my journaling. And it's a really nice way to start my day. So I've done the 30 days, and when I say that this has been life-changing for me, I mean in an apparent way. Basically, there's a big life change that I've been waiting for to happen for a long time. It seemed completely out of my control, so I had just been waiting, and it has been a huge point of uncertainty in my life. But within a week or so of writing morning pages, the thought popped up that it's time to shift my mindset about this thing. And I started writing like it was finally happening and I was manifesting it and regaining some form of control that I thought I didn't have. Long story short, it led me to doing visualization meditations each day after journaling. It changed my perspective and made me so much more positive and appreciative of my current world. And it led me to inspired actions to take. But even other than that specific example, I've been discovering so much about myself and about my life. Like, I complain too much about this particular thing and it's time to do something about it. Or this is actually what is most important to me, which I neglected because I lost perspective, or I'm too stressed and busy because I'm putting too much pressure on myself in this way. I've found clarity in ways that I didn't expect, but things become so clear when you have patterns in what you're writing about every day and what's on your mind. Problems, guidance, ideas just reveal themselves as you do these morning pages every day. Another big one that I've touched on already is how my outlook has become so much more positive and grateful. And I genuinely feel more present, carefree, at peace than I did 30 days ago. I listen to my intuition more and I have a bigger picture perspective on my life. All I know is I'm definitely going to be reading the book The Artist's Way and soaking in more of the wisdom that Julia Cameron has shared with the world. And some more thoughts and tips to get the most out of this practice. Firstly, just remember that there's nothing you can't write. It can be recalling things from the previous day, it can be what you can see or hear around you, things you want to remember for the day ahead, or something really big happening in your life that you're trying to process. A few times I started with, I don't really know what to write about. Literally anything that crosses your consciousness. You're collecting the clouds of thoughts floating by and putting it on paper. From a creativity perspective, it might seem kind of pointless and that what you're writing about has nothing to do with creativity, but writing these random thoughts clears your mind and opens it up to receive ideas, inspiration, and realize what actions to take. Next, being honest with yourself and your thoughts is probably the most important and potentially transformative aspect of doing this kind of journaling. It is essential that you are 100% honest and don't censor yourself. It's normal to automatically write like someone else is eventually going to read what you've written, but this practice is just for you. So to allow full honesty, make sure you don't let anyone read your morning pages at all. Even you don't need to read what you've written in the past. And if you can't trust that no one will read them, then consider destroying the 3 pages after you've written them each day. You have to write with full honesty. No matter how terrible or crazy you think your thoughts might be, let them out. If they don't come out, they'll stay in you and you'll be burdened by them. Another very important aspect of this practice is to write longhand on paper. Yes, we can write quicker if we're typing on our phone or computer, but that's more emotionally detached and you can too easily get distracted or get caught up in fixing mistakes and changing things. The slowness of handwriting connects you to your emotions and your surroundings. And this writing really isn't meant to be artful and well written. Let it be messy, not making sense, full of spelling and grammatical errors. It doesn't matter, no one's going to read it anyway. And if something pops up in your mind while you're writing about something else, just switch topics immediately. Don't worry about writing complete and cohesive thoughts. It's okay for whatever you're writing about to be interrupted. It's stream of consciousness and you should just let out whatever thoughts come up as they come up. If it helps to have a special notebook and pen, then try having that so that there's as little resistance as possible to get writing in the morning. The notebook that I've been using is from a company called Danique, and it's actually my own cover design. I have a collection of notebooks in collaboration with them, which you can check out if you're interested. Lastly, there's no rule that this journaling practice has to be done in the morning. If you find that writing in the morning isn't really working, then find a time that works for you, as long as you still do it every day. You could try doing it at night just before bed, which could also be really effective for letting out your worries and quieting your mind before you sleep. I'm honestly so grateful to have this new practice in my life, and I really hope that you give it a try as well. Happy writing, and I will see you next time.